So you see Kansas State leads the Big 12 in all the defensive stats, holding to opponent field goal percentage, they're the best, and also just holding teams to their lowest every time they play. What challenges do you see from their defense?
No, they're a really, really good defensive team. I think the biggest thing is their guards are, they have big guards that are physical, long. They switch a lot. And then you have Yoki on the block that can block some shots and create some problems there. But I think it's just their ability to switch a lot, very interchangeable, and really aggressive. And when you have tall guards, it creates harder shot selection. So they've been really good all year, really good. So yeah, their numbers are, they're not a team that's going to go full court and turn you over. It's just they make it really hard to run your offense, and the interchangeable parts make it really hard.
And talking about Ioka Lee, obviously we don't know for sure if she's going to play tomorrow
She'll
night.
play.
She will? Okay, yeah. Still trying to prepare for her. She's such a big force and obviously leads her team in scoring and everything. How do you try and prepare for her size?
Yeah, I think one of the great advantages for any women's team is if you have a player with size like that. It's a different cover than in the men's game, with the size. So it's really hard. I think for us, it's a lot about you try and limit great low post position. You try and limit the fouls. And I think for us, it's always been you try and limit the opportunities for her to offensive rebound. She's always been really good at, if she does miss, which isn't a lot, she fouls her own shot, or if you're late rotating and you're helping. So, the rebounding, the fouls, those kinds of things. And then you just, hope that she doesn't make everything. But it's hard. And because you try and double team her length, she just throws over the top of you. So, and they do a really, really good job of the angles of getting her the ball, and they're very patient on offense. And it's a very, very difficult thing to simulate in practice. And so hopefully we can limit the big nights is, I guess, how you have to go into it.
Bill, kind of backing off of that, knowing the defense is going to be so tough with Kansas State, and knowing that Oklahoma on Saturday was able to kind of shut down the inside with Audie, are you expecting kind of that same thing to happen or anything different for this one?
I don't know if it'd be different. Obviously, they won't double team a ton when Yoki's in the game, and when they do, the challenge is, when teams double team, you have to make them pay for it. So you kick it, and we've got to shoot the ball better. We've had opportunities. You look at their game last Saturday, they play Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State did a really good job of when they did double, they kicked it, and I think they made 4 or 5 threes in a row. So when teams do that, you have to make them pay for it. And then when you get a chance to get to the free throw line, stuff like that. But it's a hard thing to do. But at this level, against really good teams, when there's an opportunity, you have to. It's going to be hard to score. So when the opportunity's there, you better be ready to. We can't go, have another 8 for 26 or 7 for 25 from the three and miss 11 free throws. Those things just can't. You just can't do that against good teams. So hopefully, we'll be in a little better rhythm, and when those shots are there, we can make a couple more.
Bill, in line with that, I remember after the game you said that Audie wasn't always getting the entry pass exactly where it's perfect for her, but she's so good at exploiting angles. She didn't really get angles if she's getting it kind of high in the paint and that type of stuff straight on. How much of that was a function of not hitting some of those open threes? They're able to, put her in more difficult positions.
No, I think they kind of go together. And you're much more willing to double team, gamble, whatever term you want, pack it in when the other team's not making shots. And then you get a little tentative on your passing, and it all kind of goes together. and it goes the other way, then it creates even, a much better situation, because now you're saying, we've had games where teams tried to do that. We make 2 or 3 threes in a row, and then now they have to stretch the defense, and now you throw it back inside. So, you have to do both, and it's making shots, it's passing at the right time, it's posting to the right place. It all kind of goes together, and certainly at this, when you're playing the kind of teams that we're playing, especially Saturday and then this week, you better do it right, or you're going to have a really hard time getting any look at the basket, let alone a good one.
What can this game and then this week do in terms of reaching some of the goals that you still want to achieve when it comes to the postseason and stuff like that?
I've never. Really, this is every year, and I know this probably sounds stupid. I'm not real focused on postseason. I think for our team, when we came into the year, it was like, all right, these days and these weeks are coming. I mean, the one thing I've learned, I don't care what it is, whether it's your job, whether it's school, you have to live through these things. You have to. You can talk about it, and you have to experience it, and we're experiencing it. Yeah, we are. And I think the biggest challenge for the coaches, for the players, is number one, just show up every day. And again, I say this a lot, and I don't want to bore everyone, but I believe showing up is a skill. And I believe doing your work every day and finishing your work every day is a skill. And understanding that you're not always rewarded for it, you're not always going to win, but it builds habits that you can build on in a positive way. And it's hard for our guys are 5 of the top 7 players are freshmen, and they're not used to losing much, so that kind of wears on you. Audie didn't lose many games, and in high school, and none of them did. That's why they're here. They were on good high school teams, and they're used to just kind of showing up, and they're going to win. But they've handled it pretty well, and I think you block out the outside noise, and you just really, you don't make excuses for anything, and you just try and keep working and doing what you can. And we try and tell them and show them that, hey, this is when we do the things we need to do, you can have success. When we don't, we can't. We're not that kind of team. So hopefully, we can understand that, and it's a really, really hard week, probably the hardest 3-game stretch of the season, but also, it's a great opportunity to challenge yourself against 2 top 10 teams. And, if you want to be a great player, then you embrace these kind of games. You don't run away from them. So hopefully we'll be ready to go tomorrow.
I know turnovers have been a big thing that you've tried to address. What can you do, I guess, during the season to kind of turn that number down? Yeah, no,
it's a great question, and that's a really hard thing. And the thing about our turnovers is, we don't have a lot of great experienced ball handling, so that's part of it. We don't have those people that have been through it. And the other thing that's been kind of odd is we seem to, like the other night, it was 15 in the first half, we only had 5 in the second half. And it seems like we have a quarter or part of a quarter where we just, like, I always tell them it's not going to blow up in your hands. It's like they just feel like they got to get rid of it, and sometimes you're like, do you understand what color jersey we're wearing? It's just I don't know. And we talk about it, we work on it a lot, we stress it in our practices, and we always have. And I understand. I mean, you don't want teams to be tentative, and so we're going to turn the ball over. Our goal is always in that 12 to 14 range, and if those 12 to 14 are minimal live ball turnovers, then you got a chance. But we've been in that 16 to 20, and it seems like 3 to 4 of them a game are turning into pick sixes. So it's just, you're not only taking away an opportunity to score, you're giving them points. And so it's not a 2-point thing, it's a 4-point thing or a 5-point thing. And it is hard now because you have to maximize game planning stuff too. And like our practices now are like 45 minutes. That's all you can do. I mean, there's not enough in the tank, you know. We got a lot of driving to do, and we're driving across the western United States. There's not many gas stations left. And we got to get to the finish line. And we're looking for some hills to coast down too. So we've got to figure out a few things, but I don't think we're that far off. It's just, like I said, when they come and they come in bunches, and that's we got to figure that out.
You'd mentioned you knew like struggles like this were bound to happen this year. Are they maybe enhanced, or I guess did you anticipate it being a little bit more difficult of a ride than a typical season because you have so many young players?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when the season started, I talked a lot with our staff about this is going to be really, really hard because of our age, our lack of experience, obviously not having Emily Ryan full go for half the season. So we knew this was going to be hard. It doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make it, it doesn't mean that, you have all the answers to figure out how you get out the other end of it. But like I told them, this is something that everyone's going to have to learn. And the only thing I get, winning and losing is important. And at the end of the day, that's how I'll be judged, and that's fine. At the end of the year, people make their decisions. But what I want them to understand is that, what I usually tell them, the game ends and the scoreboard goes off and the lights go out. Okay? But the light inside of you and the light that keeps you motivated has to keep being very, very bright. And understand that, you hear all the stories of all the great athletes and all the great teams that, hey, we just got to, I just watched an interview with Patrick Mahomes. It's like, during the middle of the year, everyone thought we stunk and we couldn't catch the ball. Our offense is terrible, and now they won it. And so you just have to continue to believe in the foundation of what you're about. And it makes it hard because it does wear on you, obviously. And but our kids have handled it really well, and we'll just keep showing up and hopefully find something positive.
How much solace do you take in the fact that the freshmen have built a bond early that seems to be unshakable? Emily, after the game, says in terms of trying to dig out of the recent struggles, there's no one she'd rather do it with, that this team is still playing for each other in that sense.
Yeah.
And just as much you go 6-0, you lose 5-6, you can not flip the switch, but just
Right.
do a few things.
No, yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to is I don't care, what you do, whether it's your team, your family, you're always going to have issues. And it's like, do you truly care about each other? I mean, the thing I say to our guys is, are you invested or are you interested? There's a difference. And investment means I'm going to do it every day, and I'm going to give you my effort, and I'm going to give you my time. And if you give other people your effort and your time, those are two things that are pretty important to most people. And so can I celebrate success of others? And, this is going to end. And the season's going to end, and careers are going to end. And, so you don't want to be one of those teams or one of those individuals, because I'm a big, what if? We live through, life of, well, what if I would have done this? And what if I would have done that? You don't want to be that way. You got to be willing to do the work and know that you're going to be disappointed at times. And that's okay. If you did the best you could and you stuck your neck out there and you put your heart out there, no one's going to fault you for that. And the people that do, who cares? You ignore those people. And I think our kids have done a really good job of it. And like you said, the 5 freshmen are the core of this team. They're playing the majority of the minutes, and they're doing most of the heavy lifting. And it's gotten a lot heavier recently, but they'll be fine.
Kind of guessing when you're 6-0 in Big 12 play, some of the freshmen, like you had mentioned, they've never lost before. They probably are thinking like, we're invisible, nothing bad can happen, kind of like a typical teenager. Was that one of those times you had to, I guess, prepare them for, hey, there are going to be tough times. You have to do that then?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it back then when, everyone talked about like last year's team. Last year's team was really, really good, and we were 11-7 in the league, and I think people forget that. And and I think the way the schedule fell, and like we talked about, every game we've played, with the exception of the Oklahoma game, you could say, people say, oh, you should have won this game. I don't believe in that. I think every game we played, you could have won and you could have lost. But that's the nature of this league. I mean, it happens to most people. Don't go through this thing, men's basketball, women's basketball, football, without going through some tough ones. So, and we did talk about it, and we talked about what's coming and what's creating success, what could create some disappointment, and you just try and keep them above. Keep them above a level that, like, all right, when it does slip, we can recover from it. And, like I said, until Saturday, all 10 games were eerily the same. The results weren't the same, but, and again, it's not an excuse, but there's no doubt in my mind the game that we did not play impacted our team, impacted the flow of our team, impacted a lot of things. And it's completely changed the flow and rhythm of the season. And that's just my opinion, and a lot of people might not agree with it, but I firmly believe that that was a huge factor at a time when, we find out 5 hours before playing a game at Tech that we're not going to play on Saturday. And those kinds of things are another thing that young teams, and then it's a string of road games, and we just we tried a lot of different things, but we got to be better now. And like I told them, we got 3 home games left, so celebrate that. And some last time at Texas, first time at Houston, some great opportunities in front of us, and we'll see how we handle it.